Bonte's walking in. We were getting into a heated little argument in the hallway.
Lucky
Guru,
us.
Steiny, Evan Giddings, Bonte, myself. And I said, I just threw this out to them. I said, hey, Oklahoma City versus Indiana. And Guru was like, no, that cannot happen. Like, that's the finals matchup. He's, no, it can't happen. And Steiny said, oh, my God, that would be a nightmare for the league. And then I said, if Oklahoma City runs the table for a couple of years, would that be good or bad for the league? I don't know what the answer is. I think I'm open-minded to it. And then Steiny goes, it'd be horrible. And Guru said exactly what Bonte said, which is Oklahoma City did resonate back in the day.
Well, this is funny. This is great because I'm glad you brought this up. And it brought me back to, I remember the show, and I was ticked off at the break. I really was. It was during the summer. Remember the schedule got shifted back. It was my first year on Warriors pre and post. And the NBA Finals were taking place. And it was the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. It was a 6-game series. Phoenix had home court advantage, and I thought the first game, the intensity was just through the roof. I was like, wow. This is high-level stuff right here. Chris Paul's hooping, Devin Booker, you had Giannis in the middle. I mean, I thought it was just high-level basketball.
That was the bubble.
That was the year after the bubble.
The year after the bubble, that's right.
Fans were still going to games. Fans still going to games. And I remember I was dying to get into it. And you and Kate were reluctant to get into it. They're like, nobody really cares. And I remember I threw it out, and the lines lit up to talk about the series because as Warrior fans, we were interested, right? And I'm not coming down your road for anything like that. But I think basketball fans will follow no matter what. And it was funny. You two were like, yeah, Milwaukee and Phoenix just doesn't do it for us. And I was like, there's Giannis, there's Chris Paul, there's Booker. Giannis is going for his first championship. CP3's finally in the NBA Finals, and the lines lit up. And then we moved off the subject, then we played some cuts, and it was done. And I just remember being in Tahoe during the final 2 games of that series, and the bars were packed watching that game. Now, is OKC and Indiana going to resonate with the casual fans? Absolutely not. And the television ratings will dip, but at the same time, I don't know how television ratings are measured, just like we don't know how radio ratings are measured. Sometimes we see some numbers, we're like, huh? And when we see some numbers like, huh? Is that right? Is that right? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Indiana became a powerhouse in the 90s with Reggie Miller. He was a charismatic character, no doubt. He was charismatic. He had personality. He had the Davis brothers, Rick Smits. And I love those Pacer teams. I was locked in. Indiana, New York, small market versus big market, big boy versus small town. I loved it. So would OKC, Indiana be good for the league in ratings? Yeah, everybody's going to knock it in. Indiana and OKC, oh, that sucks. Stephen A is going to go on first take saying, I hate these cities. I would rather be in Miami or LA. But me personally, I will watch because it's Chet, it's SGA, it's Tyrese Halliburton.
That's not the question,
I want to see Siakam. But is it going to resonate with the casuals? Of course not.
So, I'm looking
Casuals are front runners to me. Casuals are bandwagoners.
Yeah, but that's how the league thrives. And so,
I hear you.
Right? So, I'm saying, you brought up the Milwaukee Phoenix, and I just pulled it up right here. And you just scroll through the data, and outside of the bubble season, which was one of the lowest rated finals ever, that one was... Just throw that out the window. It was so many different things with that. The start times, everything. It's pretty low rated compared to others. The very next year, the lowest rated Warrior-Celtic game is higher than the highest rated game from just the year prior.
No, the casuals didn't want to watch it. But I thought it was a fascinating series. I thought it was great basketball. And I'm saying to the casuals, you missed out on some great ball. The Giannis block on DeAndre Ayton's one of the great plays I've seen in NBA Finals history.
Do you know what the highest rated ones? I'm just looking at it right here. Some of the highest rated ones, I mean, they're getting like freaking 18 shares. Like, these are crazy. Some of these Warrior Cleveland ones with LeBron were rating fantastically.
No, I hear you.
Fantastically because of the name recognition.
I hear that.
Like the final Miami San Antonio was even worse. Than that Milwaukee Phoenix, which is crazy. But I think that the San Antonio thing, people were just on it.
Casual see San Antonio and they're like, oh, boring town, boring players, blah, blah, blah.
Fair or not?
And that's what
but that's not the only algorithm that the league is looking at. They're looking at a lot of things. They're looking at overall attendance numbers. They're looking at merchandise. They're looking at a variety of things. And look, as long as there's people like Amazon willing to pay, they don't care who's watching. As long as there's 15 deals up and Peacock and ABC and Disney, they're all bidding for it. It really doesn't matter.
This is why I don't go crazy over ratings, because I don't know who's watching, and people watch differently. They're either illegally streaming. They may be using somebody else's password. Who the hell knows how people are watching these days? I have no idea. I have no idea how these things are measured. But if the casuals, because I'm not a casual. I don't know what it's like to be a casual. I'm locked into NBA. I've watched every NBA Finals since I can remember. I watched every World Series since I can remember.
We all have.
I've watched everything.
We're also in it. We're knee deep in it.
But yeah. So I don't know. Honestly, if the casuals want to miss out on that, like the Bucks-Suns series was a really damn good basketball series. Really good. And a lot of people missed out on it.
And it was an opportunity for Chris Paul to win his first championship. Giannis got hurt and came back. There was a variety of angles on that one. But again, I'm looking at for the league as a whole. So if you had, let's just say, Denver versus OKC in the Western Conference Finals, that can happen, correct?
It can happen.
Yeah. So that's your Western Conference Finals.
Great series.
It would be a great series.
I think.
I'm interested to see, would America think it's a great series?
Probably not.
That kind of sucks.
Probably not.
You're looking at a generational player in Jokic and a team on the rise that might be the blueprint for the next decade for the rest of the league.
So basically, what I'm getting to here and what I'm gathering is that if you're not out there acting like a clown, if you're out there at not being a podcaster, or if you're not out there doing every single commercial, or if you're not super outspoken, nobody's going to care about you. That just sucks, because Jokic is one of the great players we've ever seen in this league. He can go down as a top 10 player of all time.
But what about I don't think
hold on, Jamal Murray.
Yeah, but did Buster Posey resonate nationally?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I
put him in the Jokic category, where it's great player, but I'm not asking him to carry my league.
And by the way, those Giants World Series
were not rated well.
Very low rated. And you know what?
At all.
I don't really care.
No, I don't.
You know what I'm saying? And now, but
baseball did.
Baseball did. But you know what? It is what it is.
Baseball wanted the Philadelphia versus Houston rated really well for baseball, and they wanted that. They wanted that Eastern Seaboard market. They wanted everybody who hates the freaking Astros, they like when the Dodgers are in there. If baseball had it their way, it'd be Yankees Dodgers every year.
Every year. But the Giants they had great characters. They had great characters on those
Kansas City.
Lincecum. But no, think about the characters they had.
They had great ones.
Lincecum, Kane, Baum, Panda, Hunter Pence. Even in 2014, he had Jake Peavy. He was a madman. It was an absolute crazy.
But how many of those guys were national?
I don't know. I don't think, we're going to have the Kentucky Derby this Saturday. We're going to have a special guest about the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. And I've said this about 6 years ago.
Give it to me.
And as I'm watching baseball right now. Now, boxing's trying to make a comeback. Mm-hmm. And horse racing's trying to be relevant. Yeah. But those sports, like boxing, 80s, 70s, one of the top sports. It's up there, right? Is baseball going to fall down to that point to where it's just looked at as honestly, how you know how tough it was for me? There's afternoon games on, and I'm like, the Champions League is on. I'm watching PSG against who they play, the team from Germany, Dortmund. I'm like, this is fascinating. The day before is Bayern Munich against Real Madrid, and I'm like, I felt more entertained watching those two soccer games than I have watching a baseball game all season long.
Well, what's your algorithm? Are we going profit? Are we going viewership? How are you?
I'm just saying entertainment value.
Well, okay, so let's go viewership.
Forget the numbers.
World Series and the NBA Finals are always, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, within 1 million viewers of each other. One is a little higher.
No doubt.
The other one goes a little higher. They're right next to each other. Now, there's this misnomer that the NBA is worldwide and Major League Baseball is not. I didn't realize how big baseball is. Humongous. I'm talking Major League Baseball in Vietnam, China, Japan, in Central America. Humongous. I didn't realize how big it was internationally. And so I always thought, the NBA is way bigger globally than Major League Baseball. But Major League Baseball has made huge inroads in a variety of continents in terms of trying to get their sport there. Like the NFL is not as deep worldwide as the NBA and Major League Baseball, and that's surprising for people.
Because football is big. Football with the U.
Exactly.
It's bigger in Europe.
That's the largest sport in the world.
So But I'm looking at soccer and I'm like, shit. Heck, half the time you guys hear me talking about tennis. I get more entertained watching tennis than I do baseball at times. Baseball's got to do something here. They got to figure something out, not get the viewers or whatnot. Just as an I'm telling you, my entertainment value.
That's you.
My entertainment value, and I love baseball.
They broke an attendance record last year.
That's great.
No,
awesome.
I'm just saying, like they would tell you, I agree with that.
But the product on the field is not appeasing. It's not.
Well, I think there's too many games.
It's home run strikeout, and now they're trying to get away from it, get more speed into the game or whatnot. The balls are always an issue. Now we got jersey problems. There's always something going on. But at mainstream media, they don't even talk about baseball no more because it doesn't hit. It doesn't hit. Why do we talk less baseball on the show? Because it doesn't hit out there the streets no more.
Yeah, but in Boston it still does. In New York with the Yankees it still does. Yeah, there's certain markets. It's regional. Like it's become what college football was 10 years ago. It's extremely regional. But Bonte, I would also say that the NBA doesn't hit. Like we talk about the Warriors every single day here. We know we went to Boston. They don't really talk about the Celtics to that degree out there. The Lakers do. The Lakers are the number one team down there, and that's who they talk about every single day. So it's really market to market. But nationally, there's no question. We do not discuss baseball like we did in the 90s.
No, we don't.
And it ain't coming back.
It's not even close.
But Ponte, I would also say, like, I listen to Colin Cowherd talk about this all the time. It used to be 60-40.
And I don't know if they don't talk about the Celtics. You sure about that? I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, they talk about what their algorithm is on what their mix, their diversity mix. When Colin Cowherd first started, he said at ESPN, he went 60-40 NFL to others, right? Now it's literally 85-15 NFL.
Yeah.
And now the 15% college has now taken a huge chunk of what was NBA conversation, what was MLB conversations. You're just not seeing it. But that doesn't mean it can't be a thriving business, but it's never going to be what it was in the 70s and 80s. That's not coming back.
And I'm starting to snooze a little bit more as I get older. Hypeflix. The NBA doesn't do well on television, but they do dominate social media.
Oh, no.
I think the NBA embraces social media.
NBA does better on YouTube than NFL, which is nuts.
They do great.
There are bigger streams of people, their reaction to watching NBA games than there are NFL films breakdowns.
Yep. I'm just saying, me personally, as I get older, and what attracts me and what gets me going, like basketball and football, they got me. College football, they got me. I'm locked in.
College football,
I'm locked in. I got League Pass up every day on my cell phone. I'm watching all these guys. You guys laugh at me. I just love basketball. I love all basketball. I can't watch college basketball as much as I want to, and I just don't think the product is as good anymore. It's a little watered down. But basketball, football, they got me. The Champions League. I'm driving to go pick up Baby Chaz. I got the game on, just listening to it because I can't get enough of soccer right now. I'm so excited to go to the U.S. Open later on this year because Spadoni and I talk about tennis all the time. We'll text on the side about tennis. Like, yo, you watch this match? Like, it is fascinating to me. And, just the presentation, the broadcast, the level of play. Baseball's got to fix. And I love my Giants. But you tried out a lineup like last night. How watchable was that game at Fenway Park? Other than Fenway Park. What else is keeping you locked into that game?
I mean, but you saying that, I can say that about a lot of different NBA games. The Warriors played in particular that were very difficult to watch.
There's some bad teams they played against, but you still watch it because of Steph Curry.
I think both sports have actually very similar issues right now in that the NBA, first off, I just want to make sure we're very clear. The NBA and Major League Baseball are wildly profitable and can, even if they become a even smaller niche than what they are now, can make a ton of money as a cut. They're both $11 billion industries. $11 billion industries. I mean, you know how many companies would die to have that kind of money?
Well, I'm also interested to see where boxing goes here because I think boxing, they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to figure it out.
Well, the UFC...
UFC...
I was going to say, like, the UFC partnering with ESPN and doing what it's done, it has come to the forefront. I don't think it will ever be one of the big major sports, but that doesn't mean it can't be huge.
See, I think UFC's entering a realm where they just had UFC 300 and I watched.
I watched it. It was awesome.
But I think they watered down the product by having events every single week. Boxing's starting to figure it out. And boxing... with this young man from Saudi Arabia, from Dubai, I forget his name, His Excellency, something. Somebody on YouTube and Xfinity Mobile text line is going to drop the name. But now boxing is starting to stack their cards. They're starting to have 4 to 5 fights like UFC that are very, very intriguing. You got De La Hoya and Canelo, right? He's still a big draw. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. They did a lot of buys. I think they did damn near 1 million buys pay-per-view, which is really good for those two guys. Made a lot of money. I think Devin Haney made like 30+ million. Ryan Garcia made damn near 50 million. A lot of money still in boxing. They're starting to figure it out. And there's something about prize fights that still gets people together. It gets people jacked up. I'm very interested to see where boxing goes over the next 3 to 5 years because Mayweather, as great as Floyd Mayweather was, destroyed the sport in terms of handpicking opponents, waiting on opponents, dictating things. It was just a lot. We weren't getting the best fighting the best. And now all of a sudden, you're starting to get the best fighting the best again.
The thing that boxing has in its corner is that it's an event. And so, like, you only get a couple of them, right? You know what I mean? Right. Like a couple times a year. These are events. That's why the NFL is so big. It's event viewing. I look at the NBA and Major League Baseball. NBA, not as bad, but still, there's just too much inventory of regular season games that don't have sense of urgency. So most fans are like, give me the big game. I'll tap in for the big game. I can't, not everyone, but I'm not going to tap in for the Tuesday in February. I'm not going to tap into the baseball series in June even, like, or July or even August. Like, wake me up when there's like a week to go in the playoffs.
And then baseball has their postseason during prime NFL season.
Which is the worst time to have it. It's the worst time to have it.
Mike